Showdown. Okay, I got it.
I'm planning on going back to UFC.
You do?
If they'll have me, I would like to go back and fucking whoop someone's ass in.
Well, who would you want to, if it was offered? Justin Gaethje, it sounds like.
I'm not fighting at 55 though, but right now I'm not fighting in there because there's nobody to fight really. It's kind of slow rolling.
I feel like UFC would.
I don't really have a name in mind right now in the UFC. That's why I'm not there right now. Otherwise,
but the name, the draw, the excitement that you'd bring to it, I feel like it's really lacking in UFC. Everybody's
that's
rushing, everybody's
I would
wrestling.
be there if there was somebody that I wanted to go fight. But
I want to see the rubber match with Conor McGregor.
With time for sure. Yeah, whenever he's back. Me and him for sure got unfinished.
If there's another fight that would sell and it would be huge, it would be that. It would be Diaz 3.
Oh yeah.
That could be, especially if Diaz gets past Poirier.
Yes.
Even if he doesn't. I mean, just that fight alone. I mean, there's the history between those two guys. I mean, that would be.
And it's so appealing stylistically as well. The fight, you know,
Yeah.
like I'm a grappler at heart. I love grappling, but I also understand that a jiu-jitsu tournament will put people to sleep. You know, even if you're into jiu-jitsu, it's hard to watch a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yes.
But anybody can see a punch hitting someone in the head and them falling down. That's that's exciting. And him and Diaz is such a great personality matchup. It's such a great skill clash. You know, if I was to design somebody that's going to bring the best out of corner, you'd want someone that, you know, can hit back and take a big shot and put up at the trash. It's a beautiful fight. I would love to see that rematch.
Yeah, the thing about Diaz when they first fought was that he didn't give a
Interview 1. The moment Nate Diaz stepped back into the spotlight, everyone felt it. Old tensions clearly never faded as he aimed straight at Conor McGregor, holding up a White House invite like a challenge. What followed wasn't order or nostalgia, it was pure disorder mixed with years of unfinished history. This isn't about chasing titles or padding a resume. It's a snapshot of what happens when long-standing animosity meets a flood of attention, not a commentary on media buzz.
House card. I don't buy it. I can't buy it. Why are we would be turning to Conor McGregor? And the answer is also out there because he is the sport's biggest star. That is true. So is that what you need? If you've got the open checkbook and you've got the magic wand, without saying names, do you say, I'm going to put as my main event the sport's biggest star? Is that your answer? Doesn't matter who he's fighting. What if it's a championship match? If you have an open checkbook and you have a magic wand and you don't use any names, but you're going to put the championship on, would you say heavyweight? Would you say women's 135? Would you say wherever Kazmat Chimaev's at? Like, how is it that you would answer that question? And then what if you're really going to go for a big fight? What if you really follow this for a long time and you're going to do what we used to call a super fight, but now we call it title versus title?
Diaz didn't dodge the conversation at all. The second the White House invite came up, only one fighter mattered to him, Conor McGregor. No theatrics, no convincing, no pitch required. If it isn't McGregor, it doesn't move the needle. Diaz made his stance clear. The audience is already on board. And that long-anticipated third encounter is still hanging in the air, waiting for timing to align rather than permission, with everyone fully aware of the reason it hasn't faded away.
Last thing, White House card, like you said, you want Conor McGregor.
Yeah, but the whole thing's on WWE, so
Right.
it's like, at least that's happening and getting something to talk about, something to watch, and I'm looking forward to that fight actually.
Now fans want it.
Devontae and Paul should be good, and then because what else are you looking forward to? Hurry up.
Nothing.
Hurry up. What else?
If it's
is
not
like?
you, McGregor, Ryan,
Yeah.
it's nobody.
So it's good. It's good.
Now fans want you versus McGregor 3. Do you want that fight?
Dana White didn't shut the conversation down entirely, but he definitely cooled expectations around a third fight. He emphasized that time is the biggest wild card, noting how quickly the landscape can shift in this sport. With McGregor teasing a return and Diaz clearly interested, nothing is settled. Locking anything in right now doesn't carry much weight, since fight cards, title holders, and promotional focus can all shift unexpectedly. By the time next Independence Day rolls around, the picture could look unrecognizable. The possibilities still exist, it's just not at a stage where it can be officially set in motion yet.
McGregor said he's back in the pool. Nate Diaz said he would love to be the opponent. Are you interested in that trilogy?
That fight's a year away. Landscape will change so much by next 4th of July. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows who's going to be on the card? What the main event will be, or who will hold all the titles? Everything could be.
Michael Bisping zoomed out and focused on the broader implications. In his view, if Nate Diaz steps back into the cage and Conor McGregor truly follows through on a return, there's no debate to be had that matchup is always the right call. Their feud already sits near the top of the UFC's most iconic rivalries. Slotting it onto a White House event would instantly define the magnitude of the entire card, especially when paired with other major headliners. For Bisping, this isn't just about marketing. McGregor may not need another bout, but the instinct to compete never fully disappears. It's that urge for one last spotlight. One more victory makes his presence on a card of that significance feel almost unavoidable.
If Nate Diaz was to come back, but if he was, and if Conor McGregor does actually make it back, I think that's the fight to make all day long. The one-on-one, there were some of the biggest fights in UFC history. Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor at the White House would be absolutely insane. It probably will have Tom Aspinall versus John Jones in the main event. It probably will have Conor McGregor versus someone, Michael Chandler or Nate Diaz, in the co-main event. So that just kind of sets the tone for how big that card would be. What do you think? Do you think Conor McGregor will actually make it back? Of course, he hasn't fought since 2021, right? It's going to be 5 years since he last fought. I, for one, fair play to the guy. Fair play, man. Respect. He doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to come back. He's got lots of other avenues and ways to make money, but fighting is something that never leaves you, okay? It's a part of who you are. It's in your DNA. It's part of your soul. And he wants to come back and he wants...
Push the discussion even wider, moving beyond personal feuds and into full-scale spectacle. If the goal is a matchup that rattles the entire sport, he pointed to John Jones facing Alex Pereira as the one that towers over all others. Pereira's rapid ascent, his mainstream appeal, and what he's already achieved across weight classes make the scenario feel almost surreal. And if he were to defeat Jones, Bisping suggested it would cement a level of legacy the sport has never seen before. Still, he brought things back down to earth. McGregor versus Chandler remains the most likely path. But once influence, politics, and personal connections get involved, even the most predictable plans can start to shift without warning.
If we're talking about super fights, if we're talking about something that's really going to get the MMA world excited, then it would be John Jones versus Alex Pereira, right? Alex Pereira is one of the biggest stars. He came back in style and destroyed Magomed Ankalaev. The man's phenomenal. He's unbelievable. He's a two-weight division champion. What he's achieved in this sport is ridiculous. If he was to face John Jones and if he was to beat him, then I guess he would go on and fight for the third belt, and that'd be it. That'd be set in stone. Alex Pereira would, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, be the greatest mixed martial artist to ever compete. Simple as that. There's no one that's fought for 3 belts or won 3 belts. Just the thought of that alone is crazy. I mean, it took me about, 26 fights in the UFC to even get 1 title shot. So they're not easy to come by. Anyway, so there's that. Now they're talking about Conor McGregor fighting Michael Chandler. That's going to be the fight that happens. We all know about that. There's nothing new there. And the thing is, if Donald Trump wants it, if the
analyst shifted the conversation back to timing and context, framing it through the eyes of the audience. According to him, everything depends on Nate Diaz actually returning and delivering a statement win at welterweight. That's the trigger. Without it, the third fight with McGregor doesn't fully click, especially on a stage as symbolic as the White House. At the moment, diehard fans appear divided, with some favoring Masvidal and others pointing to Glover Teixeira. Still, a growing number of voices, including Ariel Helwani and several insiders, seem to be quietly aligning around Diaz versus McGregor as the next true headliner.
That's not the fight I want to see next, okay? If Nate Diaz comes back and gets a big win over someone in the welterweight division, okay? And he does it impressively, and then the McGregor fight happens, that's when I'm interested. But right now, I feel like the hardcore fans are kind of in mutual agreement that it's Masvidal or Gaethje. To us, it's kind of Masvidal or Gaethje, and for Chael Sonnen and Ariel Helwani to both say that they think Nate Diaz trilogy should be next, is strange to me. Very strange to me, because I would love to see either Gaethje or Masvidal. I feel like everyone's in agreement here.
And slice through the excitement surrounding McGregor headlining a White House event with a dose of realism. He acknowledged that McGregor remains the biggest draw in MMA, but argued that popularity alone doesn't automatically justify top billing. Sonnen laid out the exercise of designing a dream card with no limits. You prioritize a title fight, a heavyweight clash, a women's bantamweight championship, or a champion versus champion showdown. His conclusion was straightforward. Name recognition helps, but the real issue is whether the matchup itself delivers the kind of impact that actually shifts the sport.
That Conor McGregor is being talked to headline the White House card. I don't buy it. I can't buy it. Why are we would be turning to Conor McGregor? And the answer is also out there, because he is the sport's biggest star. That is true. So is that what you need? If you've got the open checkbook and you've got the magic wand, without saying names, do you say, I'm going to put as my main event the sport's biggest star? Is that your answer? Doesn't matter who he's fighting. What if it's a championship match? If you have an open checkbook and you have a magic wand and you don't use any names, but you're going to put the championship on, would you say heavyweight? Would you say women's 135? Would you say wherever Kazmat Chimaev's at? Like, how is it that you would answer that question? And then what if you're really going to go for a big fight? What if you really follow this for a long time and you're going to do what we used to call a super fight?
Expanded on why the McGregor narrative starts to feel shaky, slotting him into a hypothetical return sometime around mid-2025 for an event planned deep into 2026 at a location that doesn't even exist yet, with tickets not yet available, stretches plausibility. His core issue is simple. If McGregor isn't holding a title or even positioned to challenge for one, then elevating him to the main spotlight means the headliner isn't competing for gold. That creates a messaging problem. Asking fans to buy into a once-in-a-generation event led by a non-title fight becomes a tougher sell. Even if multiple championships are still on the line elsewhere on the card.
And it's one of the reasons that I'm struggling with the idea that McGregor is being penciled in the middle of 2025 for a card that sits dead center in the middle of 2026 at a venue yet to be built, for tickets that are yet to be on sale. I struggle with it because we're openly saying if we're going to put Conor on there that there's no title. Unless you believe that Conor McGregor is going to demote himself, right? The biggest draw should be the main event. Your biggest star, regardless of belt, should be the main event. But in this case, if our biggest draw and our biggest star is not a champion or a contender in any weight class, we're going to acknowledge up front that our biggest show will not contain a title, which makes it a little difficult down the road to go, this show's bigger than big. In fact, we got 2 titles up. Yes, you heard me, there's 2 titles.
Expected twist to the conversation around Nate Diaz's standing in the sport. He suggested that despite Diaz's massive popularity and loyal fan base, his actual results paint the picture of a fairly middle-of-the-pack competitor who managed to market himself as something more, pointing to Diaz's overall record inside. And outside the UFC, Askorin framed the gap between image and achievement as significant, while acknowledging that voicing this opinion openly could easily ignite a major backlash online. Whether people agree or not, his comments are almost certain to fuel heated discussion throughout the MMA community.
Listen, Nate Diaz, he is the most puzzling. He's not. I don't even think he's that good. I'll go get his record if you want me to. But he has convinced people he is good at fighting somehow. Some way.
He's pretty good.
I'm gonna go get his damn record, Daniel. It's not.
But he won the Ultimate Fighter. He won the Ultimate Fighter. I'm saying he was good for the time that he was fighting.
No, he wasn't. He was average.
He was. Yeah. Okay. I'm just.
Okay. I'm gonna go get the record. I'm gonna go get the record. They're gonna yell at me. I know this. Okay. Let's see. Well, his record is 21-13.
Oh my God. Really?
Yes. That's not that great.
Okay. I take it back. I'm taking it back.
And he was going into the UFC. He was, I think it was 5-1. So within the UFC, he was 16-12.
That's not good.
That's not very good.
That's not good. There's really no way to twist that into good.
Yeah. So, but you know, his personality. That's another one's like, how did his personality catch on? He says funny things sometimes. He's a little bit different.
Lens to the Jon Jones heavyweight talk, noting that while moving up is intriguing, the fight fans truly want is likely at light heavyweight, with a potential clash against Alex Pereira still very much alive if Jones trims down. John Anik blended practicality and fan appeal, suggesting a main event of Tom Aspinall defending the heavyweight title against Cyril Gane, a co-main of Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili, and the possibility of 4 or 5 undisputed championships contested on the White House grounds by mid-June, creating a historic event if everything lines up. Brendan Schaub went Elin with a dream card, stacking elite names like Arman Sarukian, Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev, Sean Strickland, Alex Pereira, Jon Jones, McGregor versus Diaz, while also highlighting prelim stars such as Gable, Stephenson, Bo Nickel, and Michael Chandler to deliver a lineup capable of resetting fan expectations. Henry Cejudo cut through the options, declaring Jones versus Aspinall the most meaningful matchup, framing it as a symbolic clash of legacies, to mark the country's 250th birthday and calling it the fight that could define the entire card. With all this speculation, the burning question remains: will Nate Diaz return to face McGregor, or will Conor line up a different challenger? Fans are left to debate, subscribe, and watch closely as the picture continues to take shape.